beneath the moonlit waterfall. Long ago, in a quiet valley where the jungle met the sky, there lived a small kingdom hidden from time. It was not known for its armies or gold, but for something far more delicate, its silence. Wrapped in thick mists and vines, the kingdom of Luara existed gently, as though it breathed in tune with the earth itself. High in the emerald hills, a waterfall tumbled down a smooth cliff of jade stone. The water flowed clear and cold, glimmering in moonlight. The people of Luara called it the Sleeping Vale, for the sound it made at night, soft, unending, and soothing, could lull even the noisiest heart into slumber. Travelers who stumbled upon it would lie down on the mossy rocks, forget their names, and drift into dreams before a single star vanished. The waterfall was sacred, not because of magic, but because of memory. For centuries, the elders had gathered beneath it, telling stories older than paper, older than stone. And tonight, as fireflies danced beneath banyan trees, an old man with silver hair and warm, tired eyes sat by the veil to do just that. His name was Senel, the keeper of stories. Children from the nearby village curled around him on woven mats. Even the grown-ups, with their calloused hands and quiet lives, crept closer, drawn to the warmth of the fire and the comfort of memory. The night air smelled of sandalwood and river moss. And above them, the moon watched silently, full and wise. Senel's voice was low and soft, like the rustle of bamboo in a breeze. Long before you were born, he began, when the sky still carried the footprints of gods and the stars were young, there was an emperor who ruled not with iron, but with dreams. The children blinked slowly. Some leaned their heads on their mother's shoulders. Others toyed with blades of grass, already sinking into a calm daze. This emperor lived in the time of Ashoka, Senel said, in a land to the east where temples rose like mountains and elephants carried scrolls instead of swords. He spoke of palaces made of wood and incense, where monks walked barefoot through golden corridors, where silence was kept not by fear, but by choice. Where the emperor rose each morning and walked through gardens filled with dew and lilies, thinking not of war or wealth, but of how to leave the world a little quieter, a little kinder. The fire cracked gently. And this emperor, though powerful, feared the noise of his own thoughts. So he came to a place like ours, hidden in the hills, to listen to the waterfall. For many nights, he sat just like we do now, listening until the voices inside him faded into the water's hum. Then, one night, he dreamed of a world without kings or borders, only stories. And when he woke, he left his crown in the river and walked away. Senel paused, smiling as a light wind brushed past his cheek. Some say he never died. That he lives in each of us, in our silence, in our dreams. That he watches when we listen, and listens when we sleep. The children closed their eyes, lulled by the gentle rhythm of the tale, the endless waterfall, the crackle of wood. One by one, their breathing slowed. Even the trees seemed to lean closer, holding their breath in reverence. Senel leaned back on his elbows, letting the earth support him. His gaze drifted to the stars. He knew them well, had named them as a child, the silent sister, the sleeping ox, the slow flame. Above all, he loved the lantern star, the one that always rose last, dim and kind, the one that waited for everyone else to fall asleep before blinking into view. And tonight, like every night, it did just that. The fire burned lower. A young girl stirred, nestling her face into her shawl. Somewhere, a night bird sang once and then fell quiet again. The story had done its work. But Senel was not quite done. He closed his eyes and remembered another tale. One older still. One passed to him by his grandmother beneath this very waterfall. There was once a painter, he said, almost to himself, who lived by a river that never stopped singing. She painted only what she saw in dreams. And when people asked how her paintings looked so real, she said it was because the dreams were always truer than waking. He smiled faintly. Her paintings never faded, even in rain. And once, she painted a door that no one could open, until a child who had never seen sorrow touched it, and it opened wide to a garden that only bloomed at night. He chuckled quietly, his voice almost lost in the veil of water. And it said that this garden still exists, hidden not in the world, but in the hush between thoughts. In that moment just before sleep. And that if you find it, you will never be lonely again. The children were all asleep now. Even the mothers had nodded off, wrapped in shawls, their heads resting on each other's shoulders. Senel stood slowly, stretching his arms toward the moon. His back cracked softly, like bamboo drying in the sun. He whispered a blessing to the waterfall, to the stories, and to the dreamers. Then he walked back to the village, his footsteps light, his heart steady, knowing that by morning the stories would bloom again in the minds of the children. Not as memories, but as dreams they believed were their own. And beneath the moonlit waterfall, silence flowed gently, wrapping the valley in a blanket of peace.